Kay Dawes, back in studio. Kimberly Dawes from Keller Williams. Thanks for stopping by.
Thanks for having me again, Chris. I'm really excited to be here.
Everybody loves a Kay Dawes story.
They do, absolutely.
Can you tell me a story? No, I'm kidding. In regards to the market right now, it is still tight. I know you're working with a lot of first-time home buyers and buyers in general. How are you pushing through that competitive market right now?
You know, I think it's really important for buyers to be, first of all, working with a full-time agent. So I am a full-time agent. I'm available nights, weekends, all day to be out showing them properties. I think that's really important. So for buyers that are maybe working with somebody part-time, not that they shouldn't work with them, but if they really want to get to the point where they can get their offer in, first see the house, because half the time buyers are not even getting inside the house because it's already gone. So I think that they really do need someone that is equipped to be able to get there as quickly as possible. That would be me.
So let's just stop there for a second. How does a buyer, who's
Yes.
probably starting their search online at first,
Of course.
how do you figure out that you're not dealing with a part-time agent?
You know, I think it's buyers need to ask questions as much as sellers ask us questions when we're sitting in front of them and really they're interviewing us. I feel that buyers should be interviewing their agents as well. You know, you might meet an agent at an open house that's standing in for a listing agent, or maybe it is the listing agent of that property. But buyers should also be interviewing an agent as to, what have you sold in this town? Do you know about the school system? Questions like that, because if the buyer's agent doesn't know those things, they're going to probably not know the market in that area either very well.
So breaking it down quickly, I'm going to put you on the spot here. What are like 3 must-ask questions to a buyer's agent?
How many closings have you had in the last 6 months? That would be a telltale sign that you're working, and it can be on the listing side or the buyer side. Agents need to be in the game. Agents need to be working the business to understand the changes that are happening all the time, different offers that we're seeing, different mortgage, pre-approvals that we see, all those things to make sure your agent is qualified to be helping you make an offer. So I would just find out maybe how many transactions they've done, maybe how long they've lived in the area. Not that that's all vital, but are you from the South Shore? Where did you grow up? I mean, just some personal questions like that.
And from the personal side?
Yeah, I think if you stay personal, you're going to learn a lot about that person too. Sometimes it's nice to ask, do you have a family? Just get to know them a little bit, and don't feel bad about asking questions to agents, because any good agent will be more than happy to answer questions, because with my buyers, I get really close with them. I feel like they're extended family, because we're out looking at a lot of properties sometimes before they find the one. It's almost like dating. You have to see a lot of homes before you find the right one.
I think you just made a great point. A lot of people don't realize that, and that's what makes you great, is the ability to connect with your clients.
Yes.
Yes, you're buying a home, and if you haven't done it before, you don't realize the emotional attachment and what goes into the process.
Exactly.
Some are more emotional than others, but it definitely can be taxing at times,
right,
in a bunch of different ways.
Well, and I think the emotional management side of it. So not that we're psychotherapists or psychologists or anything like that, but I feel like we deal with highs, and sometimes, then we get to a home inspection. We've got the offer. We won, right? We won the bidding war. And then we get to the offer, and maybe there's a low. Maybe we find something out at the inspection that could be a deal breaker. Or maybe it's just something the buyer's not equipped to handle, or they just can't understand, how am I gonna live here? Even though I love it aesthetically, this is really stopping me from moving forward. And sometimes dealing with seller pushback. So we are kind of emotional managers too, and you get to know somebody really well inside a transaction when you're dealing with them on that close level, because their home is their palace, and I'm really involved in that process and getting them to their dream home.
Like I said, that's what makes you a great agent on the South Shore. At Kay Dawes.
Yes.
On Instagram, right?
Yes, on Instagram.
In regards to the South Shore, let's talk South Shore for a second. I was talking to a potential client the other day, and somebody brought up the fact that the South Shore values were out of control, and that they couldn't basically afford to get onto the South Shore. Everybody thinks of some of the big name towns, but there are some great first-time home buyer, lower price point options
Yes.
on the South Shore.
There are, and I happen to live in one of those towns, which I adore, is Carver. Let's take Carver, for example. 20 minutes to the beach, great downtown Plymouth, where you can party, go out to great restaurants, lots of parks fun parks for the kids. You know,
Check out the Rock.
Check out the Rock. Check out the Mayflower.
Sure.
You know, see all those great sites. So not only the historic part of Plymouth, but when you live in a town like Carver, you know, you have the beauty of peace and serenity almost, and lots more land. And you know, the biggest drawback we have in Carver right now is the housing market is so unsaturated with listings. So we have 15 homes single family homes on the market. We just are building a beautiful new school there, elementary school, state of the art. And people, especially that have grown up in the town, really have a connection and a loyalty to being there. It's hard for them to sell their starter home and move up into their family is growing, they want to move into a larger size home. So we are desperately looking for inventory. We're also looking for land. So touching on developers. So I work with a developer on the South Shore, and we are constantly looking for land. Carver, Middleborough, Hanson, Halifax, any of those towns, for people out there that maybe have some land and acreage in the family that they're sitting on, now might be the time to be putting those parcels on the market, because developers are really looking to develop beautiful subdivisions and affordable housing for people as additional options on the South Shore. So if you got 5 acres that you might be thinking about, give me a call, because I have people that are really looking to develop.
And that's tough to find in the towns that are closer or on the water, I should say.
Absolutely.
But towns like you were just saying, a Middleborough, a Carver, a Hanson,
Great
Whitman,
towns.
great towns.
Right.
And there's an opportunity for new homes to go up.
And we need the housing.
The market
That's the thing. We need it.
is asking for it without question.
Yes, and it's still accessible. I think we were talking earlier to the commuter rail. So if you're working in the city and you want to be by the ocean or by Route 3, closer to Route 3, there is the commuter rail that goes from Middleborough all the way up. And I know the South Shore is, the commuter rail is definitely going to be coming down to the Fall River, New Bedford area as well into the city. So that's in the works. So for people that are thinking long term, I still need to work in the city, these are wonderful options for families.
We're sitting here with Kay Dawes from Keller Williams down in Plymouth. Somebody reached out to the show and asked about our thoughts on escalation clauses in a market
great.
that we're talking about that is competitive. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts on implementing an escalation clause within somebody's offer?
I actually think it works very well. There's a lot of buyers that are very emotional. I need to get this house. I need to make sure I get this, I need to get into the house. Then how are we going to make our offer look the best? So before I touch on escalation clause, I do want to say, Chris, having a strong pre-approval from a well-known mortgage bank or lender in the area speaks volumes. Because when I see somebody's name that I've worked with in the past, especially on the mortgage side, I feel confident when I get that offer. I feel confident. So not that people can't go online and get pre-approvals, but I have a builder, for instance, that would never take a pre-approval from somebody online. It had to be somebody that I could physically talk to. So besides that, in the escalation clause, when I work with buyers on the escalation clause side, we usually have a cap. So what an escalation clause is you're willing to put an offer in up to a certain amount over the seller's best offer. So I do think it works effectively. I do know there are other listing agents out there that don't want you to submit an escalation clause. So sometimes your buyer's agent will have to ask the listing agent up front if that's something that the sellers will look at.
Sure.
But for the most part, I do think it works effectively, and I feel like it gives the buyer an advantage over somebody that's just putting in, this is my bottom, and this is happening with multiple offers. So, an escalation clause is something you probably would use, obviously, in a multiple offer situation, which we still are seeing all the time on homes that are priced perfectly. We'll always see multiple offers.
One more way to get an edge.
Absolutely, an edge is good.
And if they want to connect with you directly,
They can.
what's the best way to do it?
You can certainly call me. My cell phone number is 781-389-5552. You can email me at kimberly@sellingsoutofboston.com, or you can find me on Instagram, Facebook, at @KDawes, and I'd love to connect with you and answer any questions that you have.
Love the Instagram play, at KDawes. Remember, we are at RE Talk Boston. We have more real estate tips just like this one right here on Boston.com.